So apparently this may be the new best 4S basher money can buy. At least that's what I'm seeing and hearing online. I wonder if it really is as good as people are saying it is. So this is the new Team Corally Kagama 4, which apparently shares a lot of components with the Synchro 4, a very cool buggy that I tested last year, which actually turned out to be really good value for the money. And it's still a very good option for people who are looking to get into the 4S side of the hobby. Last year I also tested the Kagama 6S, which is still one of my favourite 6S bashers that I've ever owned. And in my opinion, it's way better than the Armour Kraton, which I've never been a massive fan of. So here it is, this is the Kagama 4. Now initial impressions, well of course, it does look a lot like the bigger brother, the Kagama 6S. And here's the Kagama 4 next to my Kagama 6S. You can see just how much bigger the 1/8 scale 6S truck is compared to this one, which is of course 1/10 scale. Yeah, it's quite a bit bigger than that. Of course, the bigger brother doesn't have a wheelie bar on the back, whereas the new 1/10 scale version does, and it is huge. Now, I said quite a bit last year that this is one of my favourite 6S trucks that I've ever owned. I think it's brilliant. I also prefer it over the Armour Kraton. I just prefer the build quality, and the overall feel of the truck is much nicer in my opinion. And any long-term channel viewers may be thinking, hang on a minute, he doesn't own a Kraton. Well, I did own a Kraton for about 2 weeks. I was meant to do a video on it, and then I decided not to because I really didn't like it. And let's just say that entire video would have been of me moaning, so I decided to sell it and pretty much move on straight away. But yeah, the Kagama 6S definitely ticked a lot of boxes for me last year. But we're not here to talk about that, we're here to talk about the new Kagama 4. This is the 4S version, and everyone's saying this has the potential to be one of the best 4S bashers money can buy. So as you can see, I have gone for the blue version. You can get this in 3 different colours. I didn't want to go for the green, even though green is my favourite on the Kagamas because, well, as you see, I already have the 6S version in green. And in the sunlight today, the blue body on this really looks good. So let's talk about the styling. Now, of course, it's almost identical to the Kagama 6S. We've got a lovely chunky rear wing on the back. Of course, the fantastic Team Corally clip retainers, which I use on a lot of my RC cars, actually. I find they hold up very well. Roof skids, as you would expect on a 4S basher like this. And I have already mentioned it, but this one has a very chunky wheelie bar on the back. Next up, let's take a closer look under the body. So under the body, this actually reminds me a lot of the Skeeter 4S, although Team Corally say this is actually closely related to the Synchro 4. Take a look at the massive big bore shocks on the front. Of course, these are oil filled and adjustable, and you've got shock cap protectors up on top there. Again, a must have on a basher like this. We've got very chunky shock towers on this. Just take a look at how thick the body posts are. Yeah, Team Corally aren't messing around with this one. You can see they're definitely going for a hardcore basher with this. And look down there, look how sturdy that chassis brace is. This tower here is also going to come in handy when it comes to protecting the body. So this has fixed links, which we're used to seeing on these heavy duty bashers now. I also really like the GPS holder. I think that's a great little addition. So this one does have an aluminium chassis, side guards and skid plates. Heavy duty steering blocks, and of course this has pillow ball suspension. I'm also seeing down there the very thick metal CVDs at the front. Of course it's also got metal dog bones on the rear, very chunky suspension arms. Now this also has an aluminium motor mount, and it does have some pre-drilled holes. Now when you get this out the box, it will have a 13 tooth pinion pre-fitted, but you can also run a 15 tooth and a 17 tooth, and again the holes are pre-drilled, so you don't have to worry about setting your mesh. Everything will be done for you. We have a very decent sized battery tray which will easily house some higher capacity packs. Now the wheels and tyres are pretty much identical to the ones you get on the Skeeter 4S. Now from what I can remember, because I have reviewed the Skeeter 4S in the past, they grip really well on road, they also perform really well off road. So I'm looking forward to giving these a proper try. Now another upgrade Team Corally have done with this truck is they've actually given us proper serrated wheel nuts now. I've had it in the past where wheel nuts have fallen off. A very simple change, and it's going to make a huge difference. So let's take a look at the electronics. Now this has a 135 amp ESC. Down on the side there we have the on and off switch in a very nice little holder. Motor wise, this has the Team Corally Kagama 725, which is 2150 kV. And then finally the 25 kilogram high voltage and high torque steering servo. Now of course you will need your own battery to get this thing up and running, and just bear in mind this does come with an XT90 connector pre-fitted. So in the box we've got the instruction manual for the truck and the instruction manual for the transmitter. Now at this point it's definitely worth mentioning that Team Corally have all of the manuals for all of their cars over on their website. They also have some other really cool handy guides which are going to help you to get the very best out of your trucks. Now you can download the PDFs and print them off, and they're definitely going to come in handy when you're in the workshop. I will leave a link down below if you're interested. Finally, here we have the CT2S transmitter. Now we've seen this before. I remember this from the Synchro 4, not too bad. Certainly one of the better ready to run transmitters. You do get a foam grip on the wheel. Of course you've got the usual steering trim and steering dual rate adjustments up on top. Now with this one you can also set the throttle to 50% or 100%, and that's going to come in really handy if you're a beginner just getting started. Of course the other option would be leave the transmitter on 100% and just start with a 2S pack. Now I think it'd be a good idea to see how this truck does on 2S, 3S and 4S. I want to see how fast it will go on each battery pack. Let's make a start. Let's see how fast it goes on 2S. So let's see how fast it goes on 2S. Let's start the GPS. So let's see how fast this goes on 2S. Now some people may be thinking, well, this is a bit pointless. Why are you testing a 4S truck on 2S? Well, look, let's say for example someone's just getting into the hobby and this is their first truck. They've never driven an RC car before. This is perfectly acceptable for an absolute beginner. Yeah, it's pretty slow on 2S. But of course you can move up to 3S and 4S. There's no reason why you can't start on 2S. Right, let's see what we got on 2S. It's not going to be a lot. Hit read. 19. That isn't too bad considering that is only 2S. So moving up to 3S, let's start the GPS. So 3S actually feels really good. And maybe with a bigger pinion gear, 3S may be the sweet spot for a lot of people. Yeah, I like this truck a lot already. So let's hit read. 28 miles per hour. Yeah, that's not too bad considering that's a 3S in there. Right, so the final speed test. Let's see what it does on 4S. Let's start the GPS. Yeah, 4S is, I think, going to be the most enjoyable for me. Yeah, it's quick. I like this a lot. Full throttle. Right, let's bring it back. Let's see what we got on 4S. I'd like to think we've hit 40s. Yeah, I think with the bigger pinion gear, this thing is going to be flying. Right, let's bring it back. Let's see what we got. I'm noticing the steering servo's pretty good, but that may be something I upgrade. Right, let's see what we got. So let's hit stop and read. 37 I got. So that's not too bad considering 4S straight out the box. And I think with the bigger pinion gear, 17 tooth will definitely see speeds of 45 miles per hour plus. Now, do you really need to fit a bigger pinion gear? Well, I think it really depends on what you're doing, but if you've brought one of these as a 4S basher and that's your only intention, to take this to skate parks, to take it, you know, to places like where I bash my cars, do you really need a bigger pinion gear? I'm going to say no. I think the stock pinion will probably be more than enough on the 4S pack, but of course there's only one way to test that out. We need to get this off-road and we need to see how it performs. So here we go, first test of the Kagama 4. Of course, I'm at my favourite bashing location. This place is perfect to test a truck like this. Now, you do notice the slightly firm compound on the tyres, especially on a loose surface like this, but they still dig in very well. I think a lot of us know that the MT10 is still one of the best 3S bashers out there, but when it comes to taking the next step and moving up to 4S, you definitely want to be looking at a truck like this because it is a very good all-round package. It's always nice landing on the soft leaves. When you look at how much this costs and you see what else is in the price range, you can kind of see why this thing is such good value for the money. Now, what I have noticed is air control is not brilliant, but it's not too bad. Maybe going up a little bit with the gearing would help. Now, driving this around, it definitely reminds me more of the Skeeter 4S compared to the 6S Kagama, just slightly smaller. It definitely feels more like the Skeeter. The steering servo, whilst it's not too bad, I think that's definitely going to be one of the upgrades I make on this truck. I've said it for a while, I feel like a lot of people neglect their steering servos. You know, there are some really good options out there now, some really good upgrade options which aren't the most expensive, and you can get way more performance from your truck. It's not always about power. Handling is a massive thing as well. Not a lot of people want a massive truck to transport to their favourite bashing locations, which is where something like this comes in because it offers 1/8 scale performance at the size of a 1/10 scale. I really like this truck actually. So there we go then, that was the Team Corally Kagama 4, a very solid 4S truck and a very good truck if you're looking to move up from 3S up to 4S. I don't think you can go wrong with this truck, especially if you're looking for durability, really good build quality, and of course there's upgrade potential there as well. Yeah, I think Team Corally have done a very good job with this one. Yeah, it may need to be geared up slightly in my opinion, but straight out the box, on a 4S pack, I really don't think you can go wrong. The only thing I'm probably going to change on this to begin with is going to be the steering servo. It's still perfectly acceptable out the box, but I do think I'll get just a little bit more performance from this truck with an upgraded steering servo. I may actually look at upgrading some other stuff as well, but that's going to be in an upcoming video. Now, when you look at some of the other 4S options out there, you'll very quickly realise that this actually offers really good value for the money. I just love how everything is so thick and chunky. You can see that Team Corally have built this thing with heavy bashing in mind, and I'm pretty sure everybody by now knows that I don't push my trucks too far, but I reckon if I did, I think this thing would hold up. After I've made a couple of changes, I think I'm going to take this thing to the same place that I took the Kagama 6S. I feel this truck would be really good fun over there, but that's after I've made a couple of changes. So we're going to leave the video there today. If you're looking for a very solid 4S truck, I think this may be a really good option. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below. As you know, I always love hearing from you guys, so let me know what you think of this truck. And don't forget to check out Team Corally. I will leave all of the social media links down below, and of course the link to the Kagama 4 on the Team Corally website. Cheers for watching, see you on the next one, take care. If you want to see more from Team Corally here on my channel, click one of these videos now.